What can happen when we have a lot of casual sex is that we can create resentment towards ourselves and towards our partners. When we're having casual sex, we're avoiding intimacy. We're avoiding vulnerability. Vulnerability, intimacy is developed over time. Vulnerability, intimacy is building up trust. And you don't build up trust in a one-night stand, talking to someone here and there, here, over there, maybe, I don't know, possibly. You don't build trust out of confusion. You build trust out of commitment. And a lot of us with the casual sex, a lot of it has to do with not feeling worthy of love, of intimacy, and to really be seen and to really share ourselves vulnerably. And a lot of us go for casual sex because it gives us that feeling of intimacy without actually really having intimacy. So it gives us that satisfaction that I can connect with someone, but it doesn't really give us fulfillment. And satisfaction and fulfillment are very different. Satisfaction can be very temporary of the moment, right? I get my orgasm, I get my ejaculation, I'm satisfied, right? But fulfillment has to do with the long term. Fulfillment has to do with friendship, intimacy, vulnerability, sharing, growing. And casual sex, in many ways, it's very stagnant for us. Very, very stagnant for a lot of people. And people that have participated in casual sex, you can kind of sense that sort of resentment, also these entanglements that they create with partners. For example, let's say you're a man and there's a woman who's having sex with you, hoping that this will be a relationship. But you as a man know that this is not your life partner. And you know that deep inside your heart, but you're participating in continued sex with this person, knowing as a man that this woman wants a relationship with you. She wants to be exclusive. She wants to be married. You can just sniff it on her, right? Men know these things, that this woman wants to be married. She wants to have the house, the kid, all these things. And you as a man, you're not mature enough. You're not ready. And frankly, you just don't want that with this person, right? And what happens is we can create what we call a soul tie, right? Of resentment, where I've seen that these people playing out this karma, this entanglement, where there's a lot of resentment, right? The woman, she really wanted to be in a relationship and she still does. The man, not so much at all. He just really wanted the sort of satisfaction. He just wanted the energy exchange. So again, that creates confusion. And a lot of casual sex is confusion. And I've noticed for a lot of people, it's coming from a place of I'm not worthy. Because when you really feel worthy, you're looking for fulfillment, spiritual, creative, emotional fulfillment. And that's about friendship. That's about intimacy, vulnerability. That's about growing with each other. And casual sex does not provide that for us. To discover ourselves through sacred sexuality is like this. I see it like the lotus flower. The lotus flower is something that blooms over time. It's not something that just happens. It's something that blooms over time. There's a sense of dedication. There's a sense of consistency with it, right? Sacred sexuality is really about the unfolding of you, the expansion of you, the unraveling of you. And that is going to require you to be committed to the process. So in many ways with casual sex, we can create blocks through these soul ties and these entanglements we have with these people, in the way that we're still hanging on to exes or still hanging on to these partners, and we don't even know why. Is because we have shared an energy with them. We have given basically energy to them. And in order for us to really feel united intersexual energies, we have to call back all of that energy that we have freely given. And a lot of times we don't even realize we're just giving it out to people that may not even be deserving of it. And we do it out of not feeling worthy to actually give our energy to somebody who actually is going to really cherish it and just be in awe of it and just totally nurture it. And that's why we get this resentment, because we're doing this casual sex with people who are not honoring it, because this casual sex implies that we're not really going to honor each other. We're just wanting to get the satisfaction, not necessarily fulfillment. And in my view of honoring somebody is there's a sense of wanting to see them grow, wanting to respect them. And if that's what they want, is just to get that, like let's say you're French or you're Italian, that's very different culture when it comes to sacred sexuality. And I think casual sex is something that doesn't even really come in their vocabulary. It's really you can call it an American thing, right? Being the United States of America, casual sex, that in many ways leads to a lot of confusion and a lot of lack of fulfillment and overall resentment, because sacred sexuality is really about giving it your all, being fully committed, because we really don't experience that sort of ecstatic sexuality when we're just kind of pulling back and not really want to fully go in because I don't want to, this is not my person. I'm not willing to wait for my person. I don't feel good enough for my life partner or to actually have a fulfilling connection. So I'll just go for this in the meantime, and then end up possibly in some sort of, it could even be like pregnancies, right? Abortions that lead to, again, some sort of resentment, some sort of tie with that person, right? Or it could even be like an emotional, right? This could have emotionally affected them, or you're emotionally affected by it in a way that you feel less about yourself, right? So when I'm talking about like sacred sexuality, this is something that you're really going to give it your all to this person. Like really open up your heart and really be vulnerable and create a lot of intimacy and a lot of friendship. And I think in the casual sex of the United States of America, which is different from like French or Italy, but kind of same as well, is that we use sex in many ways as a way to really step outside of ourselves instead of actually be fully invested in ourselves and fully connect with ourselves. We use it as a way to try to boost up our creativity, to try to boost up our self-esteem, but it's not something that is a sustaining force. It's something that's very temporary, and that's why we keep needing to get the fix, right? And then we get addicted, because we're addicted to that feeling of high self-worth, that feeling of self-esteem. And sex in general is a pituitary gland adjustment, basically. And when you have that pituitary gland adjustment, when your pituitary gland is secreting, you're naturally more creative, you're more inspired, you're more imaginative, you just feel overall good about yourself, right? And we want that, so we get addicted to that fix, getting that pituitary adjustment through sex, not realizing that we're actually meant to use that energy to actually, we can use that energy, we're really meant to use that sexual energy to really build up a bond with this person, not to try to avoid a bond, not try to escape a previous bond that we had that didn't work out and the rebound, where actually it's there to really create a bond, a very soulful bond. And I think a lot of us have that resentment because we create this soulful bond with somebody that's of confusion. They know they don't want us, we don't want them, we're confused about ourselves. Why did I participate in this when I wasn't really feeling like good about myself? I wasn't in a good place when I was doing this. So there's that kind of resentment, and then that kind of feeling of sharing something very soulful with somebody and feeling the feeling that it's like a soul tie, sharing something with somebody, and it creates a soul tie. In the long haul, you really feel like this is something, you just know this is not something I need to have around me. This is not something I need to share my energy and my time with. It confuses me. It distracts me. It keeps me into this negative behavior, this negative sort of mind. Because that kind of casual sex, in many ways, it can create this negative mind towards women and even towards men. Because casual sex implies that we're doing it with many people over a period of time, or not many, but it could be we're very active, right? So there's a sense of not really getting to know these people, not really getting to know what you're creating. And many times we're not even paying attention. And many times we're doing it just, again, to please the guy friends, right? That we have the hot girl, right? Or, we're getting whatever stuff, or we're the girl and we got the hot guy and we want to show him off. And, he got him, right? So there's a sense when you share that kind of sexual connection, that soul tie, it in many ways it makes people feel, it can block people from actually having a life partner, right? Because it continues to keep us in this negative mindset. I'm not worthy of love, right? I'm not worthy of friendship. I'm not worthy of a bond, a soulful bond. I'm not worthy to actually be nurtured. Like I said, a lotus flower, that's not something that happens overnight. It's something where two people are wanting to basically grow together and manifest with each other. And that's something that gives us fulfillment and sexuality. Like, sacred sexuality is basically about you're wanting to grow something, manifest with this person. You're wanting to be soulful. You're wanting to have sort of spiritual and creative elevation. You're wanting to raise your vibration with this person. Not, I'm just doing it because I need to get the quick pituitary adjustment, or I need to be creative, or I'm bored, or I haven't had sex in 6 months, so let me just find somebody that I can share that with. It becomes more of, I want to share the sexual experience because I want to manifest something with somebody. I want to share a soulful connection, not a soul tie.